Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Show of the Week. I'm Mike.
And I'm Jane. This week, I've been seeing what happens when I pit unlikely enemies against each other in battle.
Oh, you mean in Totally Accurate Battle Simulator?
No, not that. I mean with you and Andy. You remember how he killed you last week?
Oh, yeah. Didn't do a very good job, though.
And where is he this week?
Oh, well, he left me a voicemail message spoiling last week's Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
Okay.
Hi Mike, it's Andy. Bottas won with Hamilton in second and Vettel in third place. Ha 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 ha. This is Andy. Come and battle me now.
Wow, can't believe he did that.
Yeah, so needless to say, he won't be coming into work this week. Or ever again.
Right.
Until next week.
Oh man, you two are so bad at this.
What?
Nothing?
Okay.
Continue the research.
What?
Nothing.
Anyway, I couldn't stay dead because there was big news on Borderlands 3.
What? When?
This week. Were you not paying attention?
Oh, yeah, right. No, sorry, I got distracted. Had a lot of plotting on this week. Anyway.
Yeah, buckle up, because I have opinions. So people are pretty excited about Borderlands 3, right?
Sure are.
It's the Borderlands 3 team, you guys!
Ellen's
Like,
been
you're
out there
not.
playing. Well, so I have a difficult relationship with Borderlands.
You have
in
a
that-
complicated
Yes.
relationship with Borderlands.
Mainly, I don't like the shooting games where the numbers come out, and I didn't very much get
Why do
on
you
with
hate
the
numbers
first one.
so much?
Well, because there are a set of arbitrary, invisible rules
That's how video games work.
that restrict me from
made
doing
of
what
numbers.
I'm supposed to do. Yeah. But
Why do you hate seeing the numbers?
But I hate it when they're like so obviously controlled by the numbers and not by like shooting things in the face. Like if you shoot a guy in the face, he should die pretty quickly.
Then you get a critical hit, and then his head pops
No, I
off.
don't like critical hits at all. But anyway,
Okay.
some of these problems, or at least one of these problems, has been solved apparently in Borderlands 3 because you know how that thing where you're playing co-op in Borderlands and your friends are like a higher level than you because you don't like the game very much and haven't been
Okay,
playing it as
yes.
much. And then you go in and you're just super underpowered and you're doing like 1 damage and they're all doing like 150 damage
Right.
per shot. And you just feel like a total useless chump, more so than usual. That apparently has been solved, or they're working to solve it. So there's sort of scaled loot and things even in co-op, and it's going to make for a kind of more harmonious co-op game where everyone feels like they're contributing and they're all part of the
Still
team.
numbers though, Mike.
I know,
Just different numbers.
But like, I'm less likely to be being beaten over the head by the numbers while everyone else is having a wonderful time.
So what you're talking about is loot instancing.
Right.
Which means if you're playing in co-op with a bunch of other people, you each get your own set of like instanced loot.
Yes.
So you're going to get some loot that's appropriate for you and your level, and your co-op partner, who could be at a different point in the game, is going to get loot that's suitable for their level. So it's kind of
Yes.
instanced separately. On top of that, they've got level balancing, which is, as you described, makes the experience more agreeable for a disparate bunch
Yes.
of co-op partners. Or if you hate progress and advancement and improvements, you can actually turn that stuff off if you like the old.
Oh really?
Yeah, you
Okay.
can turn it off if you like the old Borderlands.
You really want your friend to have a
style of
miserable
play.
time.
Maybe that's what you're into. Who knows? So that's kind of the headline
Yes.
co-op upgrades, I suppose, to the experience. Ellen, like you say, has been over in LA playing Borderlands 3 and telling us all about it.
And live streaming it, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope you caught that. And if you didn't, go over to Outside Extra and have a look right now. So that's
That's the
good.
big news. I tell you what wasn't news because it didn't happen.
What?
It didn't become a Destiny-style online loot shooter, which I wondered whether they do. I know it's kind of fallen out of fashion now, but I wondered whether it would become a more, not an MMO, but a more of a kind of open social sort of shooter.
I hit a weapons cache nearby. Stay quiet and follow my every move.
I assume the temptation was there, but I think Borderlands knows which side its bread is buttered on, to use an extremely English phrase. Also, the Borderlands community, the Borderlands fans, are very vocal, very enthusiastic.
Yes.
And I think anything that was too sort of divergent from the classic Borderlands experience, anything that wasn't kind of an iterative upgrade, would probably not have been received that well. I don't think you could make a huge change to the essential Borderlands experience without
winding some
peeing
people
off those people, which you don't want to do. It's a Borderlands game, but it's in Unreal Engine 4, so it looks that distinctively Borderlands way, but
slightly
nicer.
crisper.
Yeah, a bit crisper.
I mean, it's
more
really
shiny and
difficult
reflective in places, and
That's it, isn't it?
quite hard to put your finger on it, but I'd say it's along those lines. It looks nice.
I do think that Borderlands games are going to age better than most shooters because
exactly.
of that cartoonish
Yeah.
cel-shading
It means the kind of iterative graphical upgrade from version to version is like a little more subtle than if it had a different, less Borderlandsy art style.
Yeah.
So, way to go, Borderlands.
I tell you what has changed, which is interesting, even though the art style is very similar. I noticed that so some of what you've been seeing is from a new planet called Promethea. So you're going to be traveling to different planets now. You're not just going to be on Pandora or one of Pandora's asteroids or whatever. You're now traveling across sort of intergalactic space and go to different places and things. And Promethea, I found interesting because it's a much more urban, like sci-fi city.
Slag me! The bandits are working with Malawan! Bloody fantastic!
It's still kind of war-torn and a bit of a mess, but it's not that sort of desert kind of Mad Max style.
Yeah, the vibes I'm getting, at least in the kind of early demo stuff we've been seeing this week, I'm getting like a real syndicate corporate warfare kind of theme. You know, the Borderlands arms manufacturers, they've always been important to the actual weapon. But now they're sort of key to the actual story, or at least the story we've seen so far.
I rebuilt Atlas from almost nothing, and I will do anything to keep Malawan from taking that away. I swear on this company's future that I will help you find and open the vault.
So Promethea is the headquarters, where the headquarters of Atlas are, and then there's another weapons manufacturer, Malawan, and they're doing a hostile takeover with military.
Very
force.
hostile.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, much more hostile than the boardroom stuff.
Yeah, but like you say, it's much more urban, much less kind of wastelandy, and that's a key difference. Like you say, along with the idea that you're going to be taking this ship, which is your new kind of hub, and zipping around going to different planets rather than being concentrated on a single world.
Yeah, which I think worked for the sort of first couple of games, but actually, the promise and the potential of sci-fi is traveling to different, disparate, interesting environments. I'm really hoping they're going to let their sort of creative juices flow. Like if you look at the DLC for Borderlands 2, like the sort of D&D thing, there's clearly a lot of imagination there, and a lot of stuff they kind of want to do with Borderlands, but maybe felt a bit restricted by the kind of setting. So I'm really hoping that actually what we've seen so far is going to be wildly different from the other stuff we've seen as well. And the trademark sort of Borderlands humour's still there.
Wow! I did it! I single-handedly took on the COV and sent it packing!
There are some recurring characters like Lilith and people like
Zero. You
Zero's
remember the ninja robot with the emoji face?
Thank you.
I think it comes back to Borderlands kind of really understanding what people are coming to a Borderlands game for.
More of
they're
the
like,
same.
you remember this guy, you remember this robot,
Yeah.
you remember this guy. They're all here. There's a lot of like fan service, but not in a cynical way, in a very sort of like authentic, genuine. We understand why you love Borderlands. Here it is. And I like the new character that Ellen was playing as, Amara. She's like a siren warrior.
Yeah.
She's got multiple arms, like mystical arms.
Like an Indian deity.
Well, she reminds me of Zenyatta from Overwatch. I mean, only in that way where she's got arms,
Lots of arms,
obviously.
yes.
And sometimes in first person you see those kind of arms coming into play, and all her action skills are based on arms.
Having lots of arms.
Yeah. So one of her skill trees is called Mystical Assault, I think. And the action skill we've seen was called Phase Cast. And it's like an astral projection, but if astral projection was for like killing people. So
Is that not what it's for?
You just kind of like blast a holographic version of yourself, a mystical version of yourself across the battlefield. And then one of the other skill trees was Fist of the Elements, and there's a Phase Grasp.
Right.
And so Phase Grasp is like you just hold someone in place with like a big mystical
And shoot them
fist.
until they fall over. They always have interesting sort of archetypes and characters, and they, for a game that is supposedly all about guns. There's some really interesting special abilities and stuff, and I think they're doing some more with that as well, like really allowing you to kind of specialise your style of play and drill down into more specialised skills depending on what class you've chosen.
Yeah.
Like you unlock kind of class skills and
Yeah,
things like that.
should be a fun little toy box.
Although it's got the numbers, I'm willing to give it another chance. Also, they've said that this is a good point to enter the series at, right?
I mean, they would say that.
Yes,
if you're
absolutely.
making a sequel to a video game, you don't go, if you've never tried one of these, now is not the time,
Don't
you
touch
guys.
it, yeah.
Maybe the next sequel.
Can't run from me.
Well, we don't have to wait too long to find out because it's coming out in September. So September 13th, it will be arriving.
Get ready.
Yeah.
It's going to be numbers.
Prepare your face for so many numbers. And from bazillions of guns in Borderlands 3 to bazillions of YouTube comments.
Mike, we're not reading a bazillion YouTube comments. No way.
Half a bazillion?
No, too many.
How about 6?
Fine.
Here we go.
What are you gonna? Uh-oh.
Right, so now we just
I'm not
get
gonna
you with
want to
the-
see this.
No, it's good.
All right, describe it
It's
to
fun.
me.
Okay, I just shot your knees.
Okay.
And now you're kneeling down over some acid.
Okay,
And now I'm
don't do
stepping
that.
on your head and pushing your head into the
I can see
acid.
it.
And stamped. Yeah. So
Oh no.
I
No,
mean,
you don't want to. You don't want to see that.
some of your head is still there,
Oh,
but it's sort
that's-
of come off and is flipping out.
So while I was dead last week, you guys did a show of the week on Mortal Kombat 11.
That's right.
And Stephen Cole enjoyed your reactions to the fatalities, saying,
Did.
I think that cutting to Jane and Andy describing the fatal blows is more entertaining than the actual animations.
Oh, well, good. Glad you enjoyed it.
So yeah, if you like the audio described
Yeah,
version,
yeah.
it was that was it. How are they?
We watched the fatalities, so you don't have to.
Some real gross stuff in there, right?
Yeah, they find new ways, incredibly, every single Mortal Kombat game to gross me out.
Do you think that has a terrible, terrible effect on their sort of psyche? Can you imagine going into a room and going, what's the most disgusting thing that can be done to a human or humanoid body?
Yes. I imagine it takes a terrible, terrible toll.
Yes.
And all the money you spend on Mortal Kombat goes on their therapy bills.
Yes, I can imagine that it's a real interesting meeting with the shrink.
I don't know, I guess they're really, really grim, but there are also people who study like medieval torture, and some of that stuff is really, really grim. So I would
Yes.
call it equivalent.
But they're
maybe.
not like painstakingly
No, I
animating
suppose
a
you're
brain
looking at
flopping out of someone's
like a
face.
woodcut
Yeah, exactly.
rather than an increasingly realistic CG rendering of that.
I'm not like a pearl clutching sort of type,
No.
but they are like fabulously graphic these days. I mean, it's like it's actually like you could perform a pretty good anatomy lesson just based on what happens when someone's bisected in Mortal Kombat. It's so detailed.
I think it's something about the presentation of it that makes it that much different to a horror film that would present a certain kind of horror film, shall we say, that would present that kind of violence as something to terrify you and to really gross you out.
Yeah.
And I feel like in Mortal Kombat it's presented in a way to kind of make you laugh at how vile it is.
Well, this is it. Stephen Cole is saying more entertaining. Like the idea is that these things are entertaining.
Yeah.
But, I know what you
yeah.
mean. It's sort of almost that thing where you're just so shocked that you can't help but kind of laugh at how like over the top and ridiculous it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, wow, it's exactly the sort of game you don't want to be playing when your mum walks into
Oh,
the room because it would
goodness, no.
immediately confirm all of her worst fears
No.
about video games.
We all agree that it's not to be seen by outsiders,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think Mortal Kombat Fatalities is such a fascinating, phenomenon. It's such a fascinating corner of, video game culture. Like, something that unashamedly goes out of its way to be more and more disgusting and gruesome. In a world where, games are broadly kind of evolving and becoming more emotionally involved and more sophisticated and everything else, and Mortal Kombat is like, no, stay the course, more gore.
Or maybe they're so close to the event horizon, they're like, the only way we can get out of this is to get so graphic that
Push
we've
through
sort
to the
of,
other
we've
side.
come through to the other side and everyone just thinks this is so ludicrously over the top that
I think
it
they're
can't
there.
be taken
I think
seriously.
they're probably on that event horizon.
Sean Doherty said at 5:26, liked how when Jane was winning, Andy was like, stop hitting me, I'm trying to talk.
They're really trying to balance it for competitive play, which
Okay.
is
Yeah,
which
they're
is cool.
definitely interested in that.
Stop hitting me, Annie. answer.
Why?
I'm trying to talk about the
okay,
game.
all right,
and-
sorry. Truce.
Okay, truce. All right.
Ha! I don't remember that happening actually. I'll have to look out, watch it back, and check out for Andy's sneaky
Any
distraction.
excuse. Andy is, to be fair, quite good at
Yeah,
fighting
Andy could
games.
beat me any day of the week on Mortal Kombat or any other fighting game. So I don't expect he did it as a strategic maneuver. I think he probably genuinely wanted to talk while I wasn't hitting
Maybe,
him.
but I think he's trying to organise a truce during a fighting game. I think you're onto a loser there, aren't you?
That's
really?
true. Also, there's a timer. There's only so much time for truces.
Exactly. Seven Sins has been digging back through the archives and says this isn't even the first time Mike has died on the show. Andy, does this mean Mike will be a rapping robot again? And then will he battle death to win another chance at life? Man, now that I think about it, early Oxbox was really weird. Yeah, I think I was killed in like the second or third episode of... Maybe it was the second
There's
show.
some really
show of the
weird
week
stuff
ever.
in the back catalogue. Really weird.
That was when we were filming in that very, very strange
Yeah,
studio.
that's like 3 or 4 studios ago. It's stuff that I barely remember filming.
It was
You know
7
when
years
someone
ago.
reminds you of a thing you did and you're like, I have no memory of recording that. Or someone shows you a GIF of something, you're like, how is that me? I have no recollection of doing that thing. So
when you film things weekly, it's we get that thing where we meet people and they're like, my favourite ever moment in Outside Xbox was this, and I'm like, cool. I do not remember that happening at all.
kind of a luxury problem to have though. If someone
is,
enjoys
yeah.
something you did and you've done so much that you don't even remember it, then cool. That's nice.
We need some sort of official historian or like lore master with a twirly moustache and a weird beard
Someone who could be on
to
top
keep
of
the
the law.
books. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that our universe is fabulously inconsistent.
That mic robot was rubbish though. It
was
like
awful, yeah.
a tinfoil
That-
covered box.
I believe was a Borderlands, maybe a Borderlands 1 or Borderlands 2 theme.
Oh, was it like, so you were like a kind of DIY claptrap?
Sort of, yeah, I think
Aw.
so. I think that's the case. I may be wrong.
It's come
Maybe-
full circle.
Maybe our lore master can let us know.
Yeah, it's that thing where Outside Xbox has been going on that long that there's been multiple sequels to games and we've covered them within the same show. I mean, within the same, run of a show.
Yeah, we've made a lot of these things. And thank you so much for those of you like Seven Sins who have stuck with us long enough to remember all that
Yeah,
stuff.
if you've done the Netflix binge recently, let us know. God, I can't even imagine. Man, normally when you go to Netflix to binge something, it's like, there's been 2 seasons of something.
Yeah, but we're in a world where there's been 70 episodes of Game of Thrones. So our 1,000 or so show of the weeks.
Yeah,
It's barely anything.
easy.
A lot of video games like to play it safe. Sometimes, however, something surreal slips through the cracks, and we get treated to video games based on concepts that would make Salvador Dali say, "Steady on, champs, that's a bit weird."
That was a clip from Andy's very special feature on the ridiculous, bizarro, weird game concepts that actually turned out unexpectedly brilliant, despite their bonkers premises. And here's a comment. United We Stand says, the cheerleading game pitch meeting was 10% information and 100% 3 guys singing, yelling and cheering until the game was authorised.
Os Tatakai Oenden is a Japan-only rhythm action game that puts you in charge of a team of extremely intense male cheerleaders.
Firstly, that's not how percentages work. So,
All right, Captain, I
maths.
know maths and physics.
Sorry.
But I do like that as the idea that the way you just push it through is
Just
that
yell.
you do a cheerleading
Yeah.
routine
That's how
until
we
they
do
can't
meetings.
argue. Yeah, exactly.
Me and Andy and Mike, we get together and we do
And he
like
does
a
the
cheer
flying
routine.
splits until we allow him
and then
to.
they go, just please leave us alone. You can have the budget, just do whatever. Yeah, it works.
Yeah,
Provable
why not?
success.
All you need is a meeting room with enough height that you can do a full backflip.
Correct. Comment from the Hulkster94 says, what's weird about Octodad? It looks like a perfectly normal suburban dad simulator. Granted, it's not a riveting concept, but it looks quite normal to me.
Daddy just has to lie down for a minute. Daddy's going to be underneath the table.
My existence is a nightmare.
Why do you want to live this lie, Octodad?
This is the Octodad joke, right, isn't it? Like every time,
love it.
every time Octodad is mentioned, there's
Yeah.
at least one comment that's like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's just a regular dad going about his business.
I really like that. It's so
It's
wholesome.
cute. Yeah,
it's
it's
so
lovely.
wholesome for a game to have. It's one joke, and for it to crop up in every video about
Yep.
Octodad, and I love it. And Octodad is wholesome. It deserves that kind of.
It is
joke.
brilliant and very like a very heartwarming story. You know, you're not like horrified by the fact that this Octo man is squelching around the place. You're
And you
like
should
rooting
be.
for him. You're like you want his you know, he's got his cute family and his kids, and you just want him to be a happy guy. But unfortunately, then he slaps the coffee across the table at breakfast, and
or is it not even more horrible and horrifying for its cartoony veneer?
No, it's lovely.
It can ruin anything. No, it is lovely. There were some extracts in the video we're talking about from a much older Let's Play video in which we played Octodad.
Yet another thing I can't remember doing.
Well, you should go back and watch it, because I didn't remember it either, because it was a long, long time ago. And actually, it is extremely funny, if I'm allowed to say that about one of our own videos.
Yeah,
So I went back and it was extremely funny and cute, because it is so hard to control and so amusing to watch.
There is something inherently funny about those kind of games where you're just sort of flopping around. It's the same with Gang Beasts, right? It's
Very
the kind of
much
Gang
like
Beast
that.
effect.
Yeah, it's the Gang Beast effect, where just about everything is hilarious. So maybe we'll link it somewhere if you want to go back and watch that classic cut from Outside Xbox. Finally, a comment from Cosmic Moose, who says it's not out yet, but Boyfriend Dungeon is looking awesome. It's a dungeon crawler where you date your weapons. I can't wait.
Meeting you was easy. Lit up across the dance floor.
I'm in. I'm sold. I'm in.
Part dungeon crawler, part dating game.
Love it.
Date your weapons. Yeah, sounds good.
It's, I'm loving these. I'm loving how Japanese dating sims has become this genre, and people have just run with it. So you've got obviously this, which combines it with a dungeon crawler. You've got like Hatterful Boyfriend, where everyone's a pigeon. You've got Dream Daddy, where you're dating dads.
Put whatever twist.
Exactly.
Whatever twist you want on it.
And they're the sort of game you can play on sort of portable platforms and things like that. They're really pleasing and charming. And
bring it on.
All right, there are some weird ones. I mean, don't play every single dating simulator, because there's some really, really strange stuff out there.
There'll be something for you.
There will, promise. Yeah. And if you have ever wanted to date your weapon in a dungeon crawler, well, now's the time.
That's everything from another episode of Show of the Week. Thank you for watching. And before you go, don't forget to hit that like button. It's got your name on it.
My name?
Yeah, well, one letter off your name. Practically your name on it.
Okay, see you next time. Okay, lunch.
I can't. I'm really getting into Totally Accurate Battle Simulator.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I'm seeing what would happen if 30 mammoths fought one mic-sized guy.
Oh, great. Oh.
That's about what I expected.
Yeah.